Hello everyone and welcome back to Coach Craig Sports. Today's Monday, so we're going to be talking some top performers from Week 16. Hopefully you guys all are doing well in your championships. If you guys haven't already won, good luck tonight. We got a little bit of breaking news before we get started. Dwayne Haskins, quarterback for the Washington football team, first round pick a year ago, has been released by the team. This isn't really too surprising to me. I thought it honestly would happen after last week's situation, but then he went out and he played pretty bad as well. Definitely an interesting storyline there. If you guys are interested in my thoughts a little bit more on this, let me know. I can make a video about that as well. But with that being said, we will get into the top performers. So we'll start out with the quarterback position. We got Tom Brady first off, 22 out of 27, 348 yards, 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. The impressive part of this was he pretty much only played the first half against the Lions. So finishing quarterback number 1 and not even playing the whole game, that's pretty impressive. He had 37.92 fantasy points. This is all going to be in 6-point passing touchdown format. If you guys use 4-point passing touchdown format, just adjust accordingly. Then we got Aaron Rodgers, 21 out of 25, 231 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception, 19 yards rushing, 33.14 fantasy points. Deshaun Watson, 24 out of 33, 324 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Did lose a fumble at the end there, though. 38 rushing yards and 32.76 fantasy points. Then we got Andy Dalton, 22 out of 30, 377 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, 15 rushing yards, 32.58 fantasy points. Very good week for him, honestly. And then last but not least, for the top 5, we got Ben Roethlisberger, 34 out of 49, 342 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, -2 yards rushing, 31.48 fantasy points. A couple other notable performances that we have. There's not really too many because quarterback was a little bit lower this week, as you guys can see. We got Kirk Cousins. He had about 290 yards, 3 touchdowns against the Saints. CJ Beathard, he chipped in for 3 touchdowns. Was pretty efficient overall. And then Brandon Allen, over 300 yards and 2 touchdowns. Very good days for a couple of guys that we probably wouldn't have thought of having pretty good days. Then we'll move over to the running back position, and obviously the big one that stands out here has got to be Alvin Kamara. 155 yards, 6 rushing touchdowns. That tied an NFL record. He probably could have had 7, but they ran it in with Taysom Hill one time. So he definitely got the record, though. 6 touchdowns. Hats off to him. Probably one of the best fantasy performances you'll ever see. And if you had him in your championship, like I did in one of my leagues, you probably won your matchup. But he did have 3 receptions, 17 yards as well, 56.2 fantasy points. Next up was Myles Gaskin, who returned to the lineup after his little COVID stint. 87 rushing yards, 5 receptions, 82 yards receiving. Then he had 2 touchdowns as well, 33.9 fantasy points. Very, very good day there. Then one we probably didn't expect, Samaje Perine. 95 yards, 2 touchdowns, 4 receptions for 41 yards. And this was against the poor Texans defense, 29.6 fantasy points. All these are in PPR format overall. Then we got David Johnson, had a great day, 2 weeks in a row, honestly. 128 yards rushing, 1 rushing touchdown, 3 receptions, 11 yards, and a receiving touchdown as well. 28.9 fantasy points. So, unfortunately, we weren't able to see that all year, but it's kind of good to see him come on late. Then we got Jeff Wilson Jr. He, as many of you guys know, this is one of my guys that I've been a big fan of for a while now. You know, he just needed that chance, and he finished as running back 1 the week he actually injured his ankle, and he's come back pretty strong. 183 yards, 1 reception, 21 yards, and a touchdown, 27.4 fantasy points overall. 2 other notable performances that we do have. We have A.J. Dillon last night, played very well. He ended up with 2 touchdowns, over 100 yards. And then Jonathan Taylor, he had 2 touchdowns early on in this game. Then they kind of had to throw the ball late to catch up. Then we move over to wide receivers. So we got Devonta Adams, finishes as wide receiver number 1. He's been wide receiver number 2 spot more times than not this year, it seems like. But he's going to be the fantasy wide receiver number 1 overall. 12 targets, 11 receptions, 142 yards, 3 touchdowns, 43.2 fantasy points. Very good day once again. Then we got Mike Evans, 12 targets, 10 receptions, 181 yards, and 2 touchdowns, 40.1 fantasy points. Jamison Crowder, you know, he had quite the interesting day, honestly. 9 targets, 7 receptions, 92 yards, 1 touchdown. He had a carry for 14 yards, and he also threw a 43-yard touchdown pass. So he had 31.32 fantasy points. Very good day for him overall. Actually, I lucked out in my Dynasty League. I had to plug him in because James Robinson was out in my flex spot, and that really paid off for me. Then we got Michael Gallup. This was a guy that I did like this week based on his matchup. 8 targets, 6 receptions, 121 yards, and 2 touchdowns. 30.1 fantasy points. Great day overall there. Then we got Brandon Cooks. 10 targets, 7 receptions, 141 yards, 1 touchdown, 27.1 fantasy points. Other notable performances we did have was Nelson Aguilar, I believe, is 155 receiving yards and a touchdown. CeeDee Lamb got a receiving touchdown and a rushing touchdown towards the end of the game there, so definitely good there. T. Higgins, I believe he had 99 yards and a touchdown, and then Curtis Samuel over 100 yards receiving and about 50 yards rushing. So a lot of wide receivers out there having really good days. Then we got the tight ends, and one that I didn't think was going to be up here finished number 1, and that's Irv Smith. He had 9 targets, 6 receptions, 53 yards, and 2 touchdowns. The 2 touchdowns were kind of broken goal line plays. Hats off to him. He had a great day, 23.3 fantasy points. Jimmy Graham gets in 5 targets, 4 receptions, 69 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So those 2 touchdowns really boosted him up, 22.9 fantasy points. Then once again, we got Travis Kelce, 13 targets, 7 receptions, 98 yards, receiving 1 touchdown, 22.8 fantasy points. In this game, he did break the record for receiving yards by a tight end in a single season. If you had him on your team this year, you were doing very, very well. So just a lot of credit to him. He is a great player. Rob Gronkowski, he had a very interesting line here. 2 targets, 2 receptions, 58 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Very efficient. 19.8 fantasy points. Very good there. Last but not least, we got Darren Waller, 6 targets, 5 receptions, 112 yards, 16.2 fantasy points. Not too many other notable performances. I do have Austin Hooper down. He didn't have all those wide receivers there with him in Cleveland, so he had 7 catches, I believe 74 yards. He had a good day overall. But with that being said, these are the top performers for the week. If you guys think I missed anyone at all, please let me know down in the comments. Once again, if you guys need to reach out to me for any reason at all, feel free to do so, whether it's down in the comments, at my email, CoachCraigSports@gmail.com, on Twitter at CoachCraigSports, or on the Coach Craig Sports Facebook page. But with that being said, I really hope you guys enjoyed this. It's been a great fantasy season. If you guys are still playing Week 17 and you need advice, feel free to reach out to me. And for those of you playing in Week 17 still, I will still be doing my full complement of videos for the week, trying to help you guys out as well. But with that being said, if you guys liked and enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so. It helps build the community that we're trying to build here at Coach Craig Sports, and that's one for you, the viewers. Like I've been saying, I want you guys to do well in fantasy football. I want you to succeed, and most of all, I want you to have some fun and enjoy it as well. But with that being said, if you are a newer or current subscriber who is yet to do so, also hit that notification bell down below. Lets you know every single time I post up a new video. And with that being said, I post up 5 videos a week, typically Monday through Friday. Once we get done with this week, kind of going forward into the playoffs and off season, I'll be doing a little bit different videos. If you guys have any suggestions for videos, whether it's football related or fantasy football related, please let me know as well. I greatly appreciate it. I'm just trying to give you guys what you're looking for. But with that being said, that's all I got for today's video. I hope you guys all enjoyed it and have a great rest of your day.